but we want good students.
No, isn't that an amazing story that we should all know?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would like to turn it over to you guys to ask the questions that you've prepared. Madam President, if you would like to start with the first question.
We were wondering why the school mascot is a wolf.
It changed.
Did it?
It was, yeah, and my sons were kind of upset, but they're okay. They're really old now. They're 55 years old. So I mean, but they went
used to be
here.
old last time.
But it was a golden eagle.
Ooh.
Oh.
And the colors of the school were brown and gold.
Oh, that's
And so if you ever see a little picture of the soccer team from 1977 or something, they all have on brown and gold uniforms.
I have
Soccer.
seen some old
Yes.
pictures where the colors were definitely different.
Then,
How did
and
it
then
become?
at least under one of our heads of school, I don't know, it changed, and it changed to blue and white. Turned out to be a wolf, which I think is terrific.
Yeah.
The wolf pack, and I thought it was blue and white. But anyway, does that answer your question?
Yes.
It did change.
Why did we lose our 7th and 8th grade?
Through the years, we have had 7th and 8th grade. As I said, my sons went to the 8th grade. If enrollment falls off, I mean, this school survives just with tuition. And if enrollment at those grades drops, then we can't afford to hire a teacher.
Yeah.
Or 2 teachers, and it makes me sad. And Dr. Heck, that's the person I started the school with, the professor. It makes her very, very sad too, because she says that those years are really, really important, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
They truly are.
So that's a sadness that I have.
That is
we
all
don't
of
go to
our
the 8th grade.
dream that we have. We would love to have a school that we sort of pour into at least, but let's not be downtrodden and just believe that it will never happen. You guys threw this student council together. They just said kind of the same way. You want to have student council? You want to open a school? And so I really believe that things happen because of people like you guys that just turn to the ones around them and say, hey, let's change this. So I think that if we all are like-minded, we could go back up to 8th grade. We could maybe have a school that we go on to.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I would. That's my dream.
But we've had a middle school, and then we've not had a middle school, and then we've had a middle school. I think it's 3 times that we've had a middle school and then dropped it.
Yeah.
And it's very sad every time. So, next question.
Why do we have the specials that we do?
Why do you have specials?
The specials that we do.
Specials, yeah.
Oh, I think they're so important. I mean, that, wow. That's what the school stands for, discovery, and in specials you discover.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about art and music, wow, I mean, that's just part of a good school. Yeah, you wouldn't have a very good school. Now, the first year when we had 27 kids, we couldn't afford to have an art teacher, but we had really good art, but the teachers spent a lot of time doing art. Then at one point, early in the first 10 years, we had an artist in residence.
Wow.
And it happened to be a parent, but she got a grant to do it. And she had one little room that was her art studio, and all the kids went into her art studio and learned to make paper and do all sorts of things. So we've always had art, and music is just so important. I can't imagine, and if you want to know the truth, I feel that way about physical education, about gym. I'm a strong believer. I think everyone should learn the basics
Mhm.
of sports. I think that it's a really good thing to learn in elementary school, to learn how to play baseball and basketball and soccer and just the, you know, you do it for the fun,
Yeah.
it's to do those things, and then you can decide whether you wanna go on with that or not,
Right.
you know, but at least you know.
I feel like
So
nowadays people kind of think, oh, I'm just born good at these things,
Yeah.
or I'm not, and people look at art that way too.
Yeah.
And it really is a practice, and even not just the physical games, but learning how to be a part of a team, rooting for each other.
Yeah.
Depending on your teammates and being a good sport, those are things that come through playing games too. What is your dream for Discovery?
I'm getting old, so, it's kind of overwhelming to me to dream, of course. I dream of a high school.
Yeah.
I look at that little empty field down there in the corner, and I think, oh, well, that'd be nice, high school.
Right.
But it's overwhelming to me, so it's not gonna be in my lifetime. So but first we have to have a middle school.
We were thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the idea of this, we were talking about like, what about high school and middle school? But now you bring that up, it's like,
Mhm. It's like she's reading your mind.
Great minds think alike.
That was the spot that I think a lot of us were thinking about.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's close enough and it's not super far, it's kind of on its own.
It's on campus, it's all.
It's the one that we use,
Uh-huh.
it's the area that we use the least.
And the high school could use the soccer field.
Yeah.
And
Hannah?
Miss Black, did all of your original ideas go to plan to our school?
Oh, have all of your ideas stayed?
yeah, pretty much.
That's a great
Now, let
question.
me tell you about schools and any organization that people have, they tend to go like this.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They tend to just be in a period of when everything is wonderful, and this goes for Coca-Cola,
Mhm.
the big company. They have wonderful times, and then they have hard times, and then they have, and what I've learned in my lifetime is that everything goes up, and then things come down, and then they go back up, and they come down, and when you're down low, it's really important. People get really depressed and think, oh, this is just awful, and you have to know in your heart, I'm gonna stick with this,
Yeah.
and it'll come back up. And that's what I've learned in 50 years with this school, is I've watched it go, it's never gone down so that it was gonna fail.
Right.
But you know, through the years, it's been wonderful, and then sometimes there's a struggle. So, but you just hang in there, you don't ever give up.
Right.
That's with everything you do. I mean, anything you're working on, you don't give up when it's down.
So it's kind of like a roller coaster.
It is, uh-huh. And it's important, and I found that my role as being involved in the school all these years is to cheer people up. When it gets down here, I find I have to go in and say, oh no, it's gonna get better. You know, I know that, I've seen it, it's gonna get.
Like the trusting the process we talk about in the art room.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your project might not be looking the exact way you want it to right then, but you don't scrap it and throw it away, you stay with it.
Yep.
It's,
Stay with that.
that's a great
That means something.
way for life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cause that's how life is.
Yeah. Nola, how about you?
so how did you choose to name Discovery for the school? It could be
Dr.
any of the million words we asked.
Yes, Dr. Heck. When we're just planning the school, there's no school, no students or anything, and I looked at Shirley and I said, well, what will we call our school? And she said Discovery School. She didn't even have to think about it, because that's the way she believes that good education goes. You discover.
Yeah.
You're led by teachers along, but you discover for yourself, and what you discover for yourself, you never forget. I mean, it's really, you probably found that already. If there's something that you sort of learn on your own, or someone may have guided you to learn it, but you learn it,
That moment.
you never forget.
That's so
So
That's
that's
true.
my discovery school, is that. Shirley named it.
Kaylin, did you have one?
What do you like most about this school?
I love that it's a family, a community of people that all care about each other. And it's always been that way. Just, it's like a gigantic family, a true community. And I like it that there aren't cliques. Do you know, everyone sort of, through the years, everyone's sort of come together. And some schools aren't like that. There are big divisions of people who are thinking, I like it that we're all just in this together.
I wonder we are a wolf pack.
Yeah.
Because we're a big family.
We're a big family.
Yeah.
Right. And, that's the other thing, I don't want Discovery School to get too big.
Right.
I mean, I have the last thing I want is this gigantic school.
Right.
I just like it to be a little school.
Yeah.
Our small little school in the woods.
Yeah,
Little
I
school in the
love that.
woods, yeah.
Yeah.
But if we spend too much money on it, it
Yeah.
will literally be the school of the woods.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. Right. No, we have to care about that.
Yeah.
We have to care about raising money to pay the teachers.
Whenever I talk about the school in the community, I talk about how it's the shelves of boots.
Yeah.
You know, like we go outside.
Yeah.
They have gym and they have art and they have woods.
Yeah.
They have a class called woods. Like that's not something at any other school, you know, and
At least not any that we know of.
no, and that's my factoid that I like to share with people.
Yeah.
The woods is, being outside is a huge part of who we are.
And then they also went to Putin Bay.
Oh,
Oh, I've been
In
there,
the
it's
back.
amazing.
It's
But they
beautiful.
went in the teachers, there were only 27 kids or whatever, or maybe just her class went. But they were in the back of her truck. No one was, had a seatbelt, and they were in the back and they. And we laughed
Things were
about
different
that.
then.
Yeah.
I used to ride around.
And they
Yeah.
went for 3 days
Wow.
and camped at Putin Bay.
That sounds like a blast.
We did some pretty weird things.
Yeah.
Like,
Mary.
Especially back then, because it was back then, and I was in the school in the 80s, but it was that way where you were lined up and you sat like this, and you were handed a ditto, which was a copied off sheet that you filled in, and the teacher was talking and you were silent. There was no like active doing. Yeah,
what we
so,
were doing.
so that's even more wild
Yeah, it
that
was
you came
wild.
up with this school then, you know? Then.
But Shirley is the one who came up with it.
Surely
Dr.
had,
Heck.
okay.
And her picture is in the business office.
Okay,
On the wall, there's an oil painting. And
Okay.
one time, one of our parents, who was an artist, painted that portrait when Shirley was leaving. And Shirley was a professor at Ohio State in Mansfield, and then she went to Columbus.
Mhm.
And she was chosen by Ohio State University as the most outstanding professor. The first time ever an education department person, usually was physics or chemistry or
Yeah.
something, and they chose Dr. Heck as the most outstanding. I mean, we were so lucky to have her
Yeah.
she created the school. I did the business, you know, you gotta.
but
do
you
business.
had that spark, you asked the
Exactly.
question, and yeah, it was,
We, you know, so, anyway, that's, the reason it's so much fun and everything is because of Dr. Heck. Oh, well, now it's
Was-
your teachers.
I think it's both of you.
Was Discovery School like originally this land? Like, did you like start from scratch with this
Yes,
land?
it was the woods. It was a dense woods where this building is. It was all this whole strip from the woods that you go into. It was just a continuation. No, but I used to be a cheerleader, so
You used to be a
I was
cheerleader?
the head cheerleader for Discovery School.
That's
Golden
awesome.
Eagles.
Were you good?
Yeah, I was a cheerleader at Mansfield Senior High School.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you to work at senior high?
No, I was a student, I lived there, and I was a cheerleader, and I still have my cheerleading outfit,
Oh.
which is a white sweater and a red pleated skirt that you weren't allowed to, nobody wore short
Right.
dress. So it came all the way to my knees.
Yeah, they were red and white.
And
It
a
must
red
have been
skirt
hard.
and a white sweater, and then on the back was a megaphone, you know, one of those things that said Scotty, cause my name is Margaret Scott,
Okay.
so it said Scotty.
I went to Mansfield Senior as well, 99, the year that I graduated. Okay, we have a half day, so they're going home pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
So,
Can I answer a quick question?
Kason,
So enrichments are about to start up. So,
our clubs are
Yeah.
enrichment.
did you come up with the enrichment classes?
No,
No.
I did not.
You did.
That's a more recent
Okay.
development.
Oh.
No, we did not have enrichment. I guess you would say that every day was an enrichment day.
Right.
Because of the real things they did.
Right.
That's
so fun.
But you have to
in the
remember, they
evening?
all did
Wow.
really well in reading, writing, and arithmetic,
That's
which is
wonderful.
always just amazing to me. They had so much fun at school,
Yes,
how they were just really did well.
it's not have fun or do well, you
They
can have
just-
it all,
It's
yeah.
that, it's that big.
Yeah.
Oh, who made all of like the rock gardens in the woods? Cause sometimes
My
when you walk.
husband's, this whole place was my husband's grandfather's farm, and it was very big, and he had all the yellow barns that were Melton.
Oh yeah,
And
I go there.
That's all was Frank Black's, this was his estate, or whatever you call it. And the big house that's falling down,
Mhm.
that you see sometimes from the back, that was his house. Oh, and that's a fun story, because we lived there after my in-laws died. And my husband and I and our two sons moved in there while we had Discovery School.
Wow.
And the kids from Discovery would come and play in that house. And, they had a Halloween party down in the swimming pool.
Oh, how fun.
And I mean, there were things, when we left, there were still, there were spooky drawings on the wall. I mean, and so the kids from the first 10 years have great memories, because we didn't have a soccer field. So we would go to the
Just the
backyard
woods.
of the big house to have gym. And then we didn't have a soccer field, but we had a soccer team, so we played soccer where the horse fields are now, there's along Marion Avenue. That was our soccer field. And we would play St. Peter's, and we would play the Liederkranz, and everything, and there would be cars all parked along Marion Avenue, and all the people would come, and, I mean, that's the first 10 years, and we
And
really.
they thought this school wouldn't survive for 3 years.
Isn't that, and we're coming up on 50 years.
50 years, no shutdown.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I think it's amazing that you guys decided you wanted student council, so you made one. They held an election, they did all of the campaigning,
What you do.
and
made
You decide what
posters.
you
want.
did all of that on their own volition.
We had it last year, but it wasn't really a student council.
Yeah.
We shouldn't just go
Through
down.
very little, doing of the teachers. I mean, they've done it, and that's a lot like, hey, you wanna start a school?
I can see.
Don't
I
ever
can see
let
it.
yourself be told that you can't do something because you're a kid, or, you would think you wouldn't be able to start a school, right?
And
So-
put your mind to it.
Because we have a half day, we are gonna have to wrap it up,
Yeah.
but
Well, did I have a good time?
I am so thankful that you came,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
When you said come together, I thought of the Beatles.
Oh.
I love that.
That was very inspiring.
That's fun.
That
Thank
there it is, but
I
I don't know about the
I love the Beatles are, every year the kids are talking about the Beatles still.
Yeah, the wheels are all over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you think we should get a picture?
No, thank you.
I